Welcome to the Elusive Truth with Rich and Larry. Here we are, 2 days away from 2022. And wow, we survived 2021. Now we have to wait and see how crazy the new year will be. So sit back and relax as we enter the rabbit hole one more time this year. I'm going to start off with a clip from Joe Biden. He gave us the best Christmas gift he could ever have given. Christmas Eve. NORAD. Tracking Santa. Here he comes. Let's go, Brandon.
I hope you have a wonderful Christmas.
Yeah, I hope you guys have a wonderful Christmas as well. Merry Christmas, and let's go, Brandon.
Let's go, Brandon. I agree. Hey, by the way, where are you in Oregon? Where's your home? I think we lost him.
Yeah.
Wow. Christmas Eve, live television, couldn't have gotten any better. And they cannot take this down. Let's go, Brandon. Continuing on, Omicron is here. New Year's Eve parties. How are we going to be safe? Let's find out from Dr. Fauci. I am sure he has some encouraging words and guidelines on how to be safe for the holiday season. Check it out.
Now, one of the questions that Dr. Walensky and I and Dr. Murthy and others get asked very frequently is that right now, as we get to the Christmas holiday and the New Year's, would it be safe for individuals who are vaccinated, who are boosted, to get together with family in the setting of the home? The answer to that is yes. An extra level of protection would be the testing that Dr. Walensky measured. But I want to make sure this is not confused with going to a large gathering. And there are many of these parties that have 30, 40, 50 people in which you do not know the vaccination status of individuals. Those are the kind of functions in the context of COVID, and particularly in the context of Omicron, that you do not want to go to. So to the extent possible, we urge you to stay away from those situations that could put you at a higher risk.
I knew Dr. Fauci would have all the answers. I feel so much better now. I can enjoy New Year's Eve parties. I want to play you some clips that reminds us of Kamala and Joe back at campaign days when the vaccine was about ready to roll out and President Trump was touting it. Here, have a listen.
If the Trump administration approves a vaccine before or after the election, should Americans take it, and would you take it?
If the public health professionals, if Dr. Fauci, if the doctors tell us that we should take it, I'll be the first in line to take it. Absolutely. But if Donald Trump tells us that we should take it, I'm not taking it.
I will not take his word for it. He wants us to inject bleach. No, I will not take his word.
When we finally do, God willing, get a vaccine, who's going to take the shot? Who's going to take the shot? You can be the first one to say, sign me up. They now say it's okay.
And the question of whether it's real when it's there, that requires enormous transparency. You got to make all of it available to other experts across the nation so they can look and see. So there's consensus, this is a safe vaccine. If Donald Trump can't give answers and the administration can't give answers to these three questions, the American people should not have confidence.
But if Donald Trump tells us that we should take it, I'm not taking it.
My, oh my, have times have changed. Listen to him now. Complete reversal. You must be vaccinated. You must take the jab. You must get your booster. Kamala and Joe have both changed their minds. Check it out. And here's the proof.
Folks, this Delta variant is no joke. Detroit, this Delta variant, it spreads faster. And it is in many cases reported to be much more serious in terms of its impact. And the vaccine will protect you from it. And here's how I know. Virtually every person who is in the hospital, sick with COVID-19 right now, is unvaccinated. I'm going to repeat that. Virtually, it's a fact. Virtually every person who is in the hospital right now, sick with COVID-19, is unvaccinated. And even more, regrettably, virtually every person who has recently died from COVID-19 was unvaccinated. The loss, the tragedy of that loss. Literally every person who has died from COVID-19 that we have recently been seeing was unvaccinated. Unvaccinated. So it is time, and it is time to roll up your sleeves and get the shot. And if you already have, find someone who hasn't and help them and talk to them as we are having this conversation now. You know, when you think about it, the act of getting folks vaccinated, isn't that the very essence of what we mean when we say act in a way that is a projection of love thy neighbor? That's what this is about. Love thy neighbor. And we know, the good book tells us, that neighbor may be somebody you recognize who lives next door, or it may be the person you meet on the street. A new friend who previously was a perfect stranger, but who in a civil society, in a good society, we say, we see you, we hear you, we care about you. And as an extension of the love of ourselves, we will support you. And so that's what we're doing right now. That's what we're doing. It is an extension of love thy neighbor to say that when we get vaccinated and make sure everyone we see or know gets vaccinated, it's not just about protecting ourselves. It's about protecting our family and protecting our friends. And we are protecting those who we may never meet by doing this advocacy work and this organizing work. So to all those who are vaccinated, let me start by saying thank you. Thank you, thank you. And we know there are a whole lot of folks out there who still aren't vaccinated, and there are reasons for that. Access is a reason. Can people actually get to the place? No paid time off is a reason. If people have to make the choice between feeding their children and paying the rent and getting vaccinated, well, we know the choice they're likely to make. Some of the other reasons, childcare is a reason. If you got to take care of your children, where are they going to go? What are you going to do for the time it takes to go and get vaccinated? Transportation is a reason. And so is information or the lack thereof, the correct information, and not misinformation. So I see a lot of folks here nodding at that point, because we know this is a big issue. And I know there are folks out there who aren't saying they won't get the vaccine. What they're saying is they're just not sure. And a lot of that has to do with the misinformation, or maybe the lack of correct information. And so people may question the safety and the efficacy of the vaccine. They may have heard things that aren't quite true. So let's speak directly to these issues right now. These vaccines were developed over a decade of research. I know it seemed like it happened overnight, but it didn't. Over a decade of hard work and research went into the creation of the vaccine. And all of you know that one of the people responsible for the creation of a vaccine is Dr. Kizzy Corbett, an African-American scientist, woman, who helped design a vaccine that is saving people's lives. The vaccines have gone through FDA clinical trials. Why do we do that? To do tests to ensure that they are safe to use. And the FDA has said they are safe to use. They went through the trials and they passed. So the vaccines, let me say it again, are safe. They are safe. And they are free. And they are effective. And it is that simple. If you are vaccinated, you are protected. If your community is vaccinated, COVID rates in your community will go down. I got my second shot back in January, and I'm so glad I did. I felt a little off for a few hours the next day, but after that, I was fine. Who knows what I'm talking about, right? Look at that, right? You felt a little off right after or the next day, but then you were fine. And then you knew you were protected. Then we knew we were protected, and what a great feeling that was. To know that you took the power in your own hands to take care of yourself and your health and your family's health. And that's another part of this, to remind people they have the power to make a decision about their well-being, about their personal health. Nobody can make that decision for them, and nobody can take that decision away either. So that's part of what we have to remind folks. And for those of us who got the vaccine, we know, look, now I can stand here with my mask off and have this conversation with you. And most of you can do the same with me, right? And so that's the trade-off. That's the trade-off, feeling a few hours of feeling a little under the weather versus risking your life, risking the life of your loved ones. And I'd say, given that balance, it's 100% worth it. So South Carolina, we need you to urge everyone you know to roll up their sleeves and get vaccinated. Let everyone know it's for yourself, it's for your family, it's for your community. And if you still have questions about the vaccine, that's okay too. We have answers. You can get all the information you need at vaccines.gov. Yes, I brought a website, vaccines.gov, and you can find a place to get vaccinated. So you look up the locations near you so you can find the place where you can go and get vaccinated. We have come so far as a nation. 5 months ago, just think about it, 5 months ago, we were averaging 185,000 new cases per day. 5 months ago. Today, COVID-19 cases are at their lowest point since the start of the pandemic. Deaths, right? But that's because of the work. That's because of the work everybody has been doing. Deaths from COVID-19 have fallen by 90% from the peak. Small businesses are reopening. Students are back at school in person. Grandparents are hugging their grandbabies again. All because 64% of American adults have received at least one dose of the vaccines. It is truly remarkable. Let's just pause for a moment to think about this statement about who we are. This thing was raging. And because of the leadership of the leaders in this room and so many others, we actually were able to change the course of this thing. Remember how we all felt a year ago? And look at where we are now. It shows the power of not only science and the ingenuity that went into the vaccine, it shows the power of the human spirit to say, we can beat this. We're not going to let this get the best of us. We will handle this, and we will get through this. And the most important word there is we. Not just I, we together will get through this. And when the American people come together, we can do anything. President Joe Biden and I believe this with all our heart. We know what the American people are capable of. After all, in this country, when we shoot for the moon, we plant our flag on it. That's who we are. That's who we are. And so from the very start of our administration, yes, we set ambitious goals. We said we would get 100 million shots in arms in 100 days. We passed that goal on day 58. Then we said we would get 200 million shots in arms in 100 days. Well, we passed that goal on day 92. Then President Joe Biden said that we would work to get 70% of American adults at least one shot by the 4th of July. And during this month of action, of which we are all a part, we are working to meet that goal. And that's why I'm here to, first of all, again say thank you, and to let you know in person, we need your help. We need your help. Across the country, Americans are getting the word out. Volunteers like you are going door to door and making phone calls and sending text messages to help their neighbors find a place to get vaccinated. We have hundreds of organizations and thousands of volunteers that are involved in this effort. And I want to thank South Carolina's NAACP and all of you for stepping up. Thank you for keeping your community safe. Thank you for this act of service to your country. I believe we can do this. I believe we can get America vaccinated. I truly do. And it all comes back to that point. Why? Well, because we believe in the importance of love thy neighbor. We believe in the importance of love thy neighbor. And I'm going to tell you, I've been traveling the country. I've met people all over our country. And here's what I know and here's what I see. At our best, and when we are strong, it is because Americans look out for each other. Americans care for one another. Americans love our neighbor, and in a perfect stranger's face, we see a friend. That's who we are when we are at our best. And for that reason alone, Americans are going to keep getting vaccinated. We can do this, America. Together, we can do this. I thank you, Greenville. I thank you, South Carolina. May God bless you, and may God bless America. Thank you all.
I am so surprised that they actually applauded that. Amazing. Did you hear what came out of her mouth? Unbelievable. Go back and listen to it again. Everything wrong about this country came out of her mouth. Unbelievable. Anyway, check this out. The next thing I'm going to show you. CDC has come out, and I guess if you have COVID, no longer do you have to stay in isolation for 10 days. That's now 5 days. Here's Fauci. He's explaining himself very well.
The purpose of it is that given the wave, the extraordinary, unprecedented wave of infections that we are experiencing now and will certainly experience more of in the next few weeks, that there is the danger that there will be so many people who are being isolated, who are asymptomatic for the full 10 days, that you could have a major negative impact on our ability to keep society running. So the decision was made, although it's not completely risk-free, of saying, let's get that cut in half so that we could have 50%, namely half of the 10 days, and 50% of that time, people can actually be out with a mask in society.
Dr. Fauci always has something to say. In my next clip, this is from the show The Hill. In response to Dr. Fauci, Kim Iverson and Robbie Schwab speak some really good concerns about what Dr. Fauci had to say. Have a listen.
Jason, you see how difficult this is for this administration. I mean, I'm a Fauci groupie. I'm a thrice vaccinated mask adherent. I buy KN95 masks by the, caseload. They're in every pocket. I wear them everywhere except when I sit down. And I am certain that this is not a variant I can outrun.
Yikes. I mean, look, she's vaccinated and boosted. She's still wearing masks everywhere. This is, a lot of people see that. And you have one guy and he's smiling, almost cheering her on like, oh, that is really great. You're being really, really ultra responsible. But when is this over, right? I mean, when are people going to be able to go back to some sort of normalcy? I mean, if you've been vaccinated, boosted, and you're still carrying around all these masks in every single pocket, I mean, this is the type of stuff that people look at and they say, oh, my gosh, this is really, truly never going to end. That first of all, the Nicole Wallace clip is just is particularly, I think, indicative of the mentality of a lot of people still in the country at the moment. But going back to Fauci and the CDC guidelines, this is something that this is so bothersome for so many reasons. First of all, look, why did we shut down the country in the very beginning? Remember 2 years ago or almost 2 years ago when we were locking down the country, it was because of asymptomatic spread, because they didn't know if a person, if they didn't have symptoms, they were saying, well, you never know, you could still be killing grandma. And so we shut down the entire economy, the global economy, in order to stop that asymptomatic spread. And now it's, well, look, if you're asymptomatic, you're not really going to spread this thing, which is what they kind of said originally. And then they changed and said, oh, no, everybody can kill everybody. And then now they're going back to this.
Well, and they're changing
again, it's
it.
Flip-flopping.
No, exactly. And they're changing it. Fauci admitted that. I actually thought this was a rare moment of just brutal honesty from Fauci when he said, well, look, this thing is so infectious, you're going to have everybody on Earth quarantining for like a ridiculous amount of time. It's just not possible to do it. So we're saying do it only 50% of that because it's not feasible. So I actually totally agree with that. But that is so tonally different from everything he has said up to now. There has been no, admission previously from Fauci and other public health bureaucrat type people that were weighing that were looking at trade-offs. Well, what about the negative consequences of doing this? This is the first time he said, yeah, it looks like, doing what we would optimally want to do from our standpoint to protect everybody. It's just too much and we can't really ask that of people, so we're not going to. But what about school closures? What about locking down businesses? What about making people wear masks on airplanes for 9 hours if they have a long flight? Like, for all of that stuff, it was like, well, no, the science says to be safe, you have to do this. So now, and I think it has something to do with, Biden is president and they're, the team blue, the liberal media, Democratic politicians, the most, hardcore anti-COVID people are realizing that it's not working. all of their militancy is not beating this thing. And there's a reasonable and long overdue amount of, well, we kind of just got to let people do their own thing then, that is refreshing, but utterly hypocritical given what came before it.
Well, and especially since in my radar later, I'm going to be talking a little bit about the Great Barrington Declaration and how those scientists were called fringe and they were cast out and ostracized and treated like they were some sort of pariah on society. And they were calling for this nearly exact playbook for how to live with COVID. And now we're there. Now they're saying, well, we can't shut down the economy and disrupt large sectors of society. One thing that really also bothers me a lot about this CDC guideline. Now, I'm with you. I think, hey, look, at this point, finally people are coming to their senses that we cannot defeat this thing and we're going to have to somehow learn to live with it. But they're still treating. So if you've been exposed to the virus and you're vaccinated versus unvaccinated, they're treating you differently. So they're saying if you're unvaccinated, you have to isolate for longer. This is a negative test. You've not tested positive for the virus and you still have to isolate versus and if you're unvaccinated, longer than if you're vaccinated. And then they say, but if you've tested positive, so now you've got COVID, which makes you actually the dangerous spreader, right? Because you have it. So now they're saying if you have COVID, then you're treated the same unless you're boosted, I believe, is what they're.
It makes very little sense.
Yeah. It's none of it is really making any sense, but that's how it's going at this point. I think a lot of people are starting to just kind of ignore it. But another thing, the spike in cases isn't unique to the U.S. We're seeing this trend all around the world. And Israel, now we haven't heard about them in a while, but they are now weighing whether or not to approve a fourth COVID vaccine dose, as nearly 3,000 new cases are seen in the country for a second day straight. So they are seeing that curve go back up. Currently, their vaccine mandate requires 3 shots. So everyone has to be boosted, even to enter the country. But scientists are warning against another dose. And they're saying that too many shots may lead to immune system fatigue, compromising the body's ability to fight the coronavirus. So just yesterday, new reports reveal that Israel's senior health officials are considering a switch to a policy of reaching herd immunity through mass infection. Can I just say, again, like I mentioned with the Great Barrington Declaration, epidemiologists and medical doctors, this was considered a conspiracy theory. The idea that vaccinating and vaccinating again would compromise your immune system. There were scientists who were who were raising the alarm about this early on, and they have been, again, smeared and subject of defamation. And they were saying this. And now the Israeli scientists are saying, this might be a thing. They're saying this because they're seeing evidence of it. That is why they're saying it. And they're saying that they want to see more. They're waiting for more data. They want to wait on whether or not to introduce that fourth booster dose. A lot of them say, well, the risk outweighs the reward. Others are saying we're still seeing some of this risk. We need to kind of gather more data. So they are at this point waiting to see if they can gather more data on whether or not it does affect your immune system negatively to be dosing, dose after dose after dose. But they know after the third booster, it wears off again. And that's what they're finding. It wears off.
Absolutely love it. I have hope now. Some media outlets are starting to report the truth. Thank God. Now we can start to move forward. All right, moving along now, I'm going to play you some clips. This is a montage of Joe and what he is going to do about this COVID pandemic. It's all Joe now. Have a listen.
I'm going to shut down the virus. I'll shut down the virus, not the economy. Well, I'm going to shut down the virus. Once we shut down the virus, I'm going to shut down the virus. I'm going to shut down the virus. I'm not going to shut down the country, but I'm going to shut down the virus. If the president had done his job from the beginning, all the people would still be alive. If I'm elected president, you're going to see the single most important thing that changes in America is we're going to cure cancer.
Gung-Ho Joe, he has a plan. The government has a plan. The federal government's going to step in. Joe is the man. This is what he's got to say now.
They said, thank you very much, Ace. Look, there is no federal solution. This gets solved at a state level. I'm looking at Governor Sununu on the board here. He talks about that a lot. And it ultimately gets down to where the rubber meets the road, and that's where the patient is in need of help or preventing the need for help. We just have to stay focused and continue to work together. My message to the governor is simple. If you need something, say something. And we're going to have your back in any way we can. There is no federal solution.
What did he just say?
There is no federal solution.
Unbelievable. Can you believe this guy? The most popular president of all time just said he has no solution now. Wow. Makes you think, huh?
There is no federal solution.
Oh my, what are we going to do? We're going to have to self-isolate, self-test, make our own vaccinations up? We have to come up with a plan. Unbelievable. 2022, here we go, baby, because 2021, terrible. But you know who has an idea? Let's talk to Gary. I'm sure he's ready to speak now. Gary, how are you doing, buddy?
Hello, Rich. Well, we got a nice snowy morning here. How about you? Do you have any at your house?
Yeah, we got a light dusting, so pretty nice. Not a bad holiday so far. And here we are, the last days of 2021.
Oh, there's still some things that could happen in these next 2 days.
Yeah, that's you, Mr. Positive, because I wanted to say that I've been waiting all year long for these crazy arrests and the big change, and here we are. We're getting ready to go into 2022, and I just hope that it will be better than 2021. Wow, what a year we had. And we're still feeling all the ramifications and all the hypocrisy and just all the craziness that everybody is just eating up and spitting back out.
Well, there is some a lot of logic to the reason that, it's taken so long. This is huge undertaking that we're going through.
The American government, so it's a huge undertaking. Plus, it's the world and everything that supposedly happened or didn't happen or is going to happen. I think there's a couple indications that things are getting a little bit better. But again, wow, that left keeps putting up a fight, don't they?
Well, yes, and I just even heard that Biden wants to actually come out in the next day or two and say they want to quarantine. That's a really soft word, It's not a death camp, just a quarantine. The people that aren't vaccinated now. And physicians around the globe in the U.S. are coming out saying that the vaccinated are the dangerous ones now.
Well, apparently so. The latest headlines that I saw was that some naval ship, 100% vaccination, huge COVID breakout. There's cruises going on that everybody is 100% vaccinated, and major breakouts of COVID are all reoccurring with these vaccinated people. So they have no clue what they're doing. What was the latest thing? The CDC came out and said, we're going to reduce the quarantine time from 10 days to 5 days. We think it's prudent because the vaccine isn't working very well and Omicron is everywhere and oh my goodness. But yeah, let's reduce the quarantine time because we know that it's really not doing anything. We're just playing with people.
Yeah, and every doctor said, where did they ever come up with this 6 feet of social distancing? He said, if you're outside, this aerosol, electron microscopic organ, or microorganism, he says it is so hard to survive in the outdoor.
Or a paper mask will defeat this 100%, which it doesn't. And then, of course, plexiglass is the number one enemy for COVID-19 because plexiglass, it shields it and it just runs from plexiglass. So it really is. It's amazing.
It was brilliant to come up with that. They're standing all behind this plexiglass thing thinking they're safe.
Yes. And, New York City still doing their crazy stuff. I guess, New Year's Eve celebration is heavily patrolled. We have the New York City police arresting people for going to eat at restaurants without COVID cards now. And it's really bad in New York City. What a bunch of morons there.
You know what I'm starting to think? They've pulled everything they could. I think. Did you see that Delta Airline one with the Karen and the old man arguing?
Yes.
Okay. Did you hear that she's an actress?
Oh, really?
Yeah. She was on. Oh gosh, I can't think of it now. What the heck was she on? Some show. That wasn't the flight attendant arguing. That was just supposedly a random passenger yelling at a guy.
Yeah, yelling at a guy because he was eating and he didn't have his mask on, and she didn't even have a mask on, and she's yelling at him.
Yes, and I think that these are possibly highly paid cabal plants to put this stuff out there. Here she is, an actress. Who would they use for that? It'd be better than an actress.
No, she's a Karen, and it just...
She's a Karen, but...
The hypocrisy is just...
I think that we don't know what to believe anymore. That's what I should say.
Well, I think we know what to believe. We see what's going on. It's been 2 years to slow the curve. We're watching, or we have watched, what happens. It's seriously, you don't have to be a rocket science to figure this out, that obviously they're so worried. They made this COVID so radically bad that it scared the crap out of everybody, changed everything. They locked down governments, they locked down cities and places all over the world. For what? Nothing. It's just total control. It's all fear. Look what's happening in Australia. I mean, absolutely ridiculous for no reason. And they think that they're on top of it and they're leading the way in COVID-19 because of all these lockdowns, and nothing's changed. Nothing has changed from their country to many other countries. It's a farce.
Everything's got to change here. We know. Have you heard that Trump is coming out and doing a speech on January 6th?
Yeah, well, Trump, did you watch that Heavy Duty Country on Trump?
No.
Yeah, Trump just stuck his foot in his mouth. He's being dumb.
On what regard? In what subject?
Trump is telling everybody to go get your boosters. The boosters are working, everybody. My Omicron is nothing because of the boosters.
Did you hear it? Did you see him say that?
Yes. Trump said it. He just said it in Houston with Bill Riley. Yeah, apparently he got booed when he said it. This is in Houston, Texas, when him and Bill Riley were talking. Came up that they both got their boosters. Have a listen.
Both the president and I are vaxxed, and did you get the booster?
Yes.
I got it too. Okay, so...
Don't.
Even Joe Biden and Jen Psaki had something to say about President Trump getting his booster.
And just the other day, former President Trump announced he had gotten his booster shot. Maybe one of the few things he and I agree on.
I think it was an acknowledgement that the former president sent an important signal to many Americans about the importance of getting boosted.
I don't know what's going on with that. I really don't. That doesn't.
And
that just throws everything off.
Yeah, I mean, well, we all know Trump is not perfect. He's a mortal man like everybody else. He is pushing the vaccine, which at this point in time, obviously, it doesn't work.
No, I don't know if he's pushing it. I think he's saying you have your free will. All he was doing was giving an endorsement. He did not tell everyone to go rush out and get it.
He did tell everybody to get it. I watched him.
You did?
Watch Heavy Duty Country. It shows Trump saying it. I'm not saying that it's 100% wrong or 100% right. There's the Achilles heel for Trump right there.
The vaccine is one of the greatest achievements of mankind. I came up with with 3 vaccines. All are very, very good. Came up with 3 of them in less than 9 months. It was supposed to take 5 to 12 years.
And yet more people have died under COVID this year, by the way, under Joe Biden, than under you. And more people took the vaccine this year. So people are questioning how...
Well, no, the vaccine worked. The results of the vaccine are very good. And if you do get it, it's a very minor form. People aren't dying when they take the vaccine.
What about the mask?
That is.
It really is because if you go back, and I have some clips of Joe Biden telling the world that he has a plan that is going to cure cancer, and Trump has no plan for COVID and all this other crazy stuff. You saw what happened right before Christmas. He came out and said that the government has no plan. It's up to the states now. Did you hear that from Biden?
There is no federal solution.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So, and his whole campaign was, I have a plan and Trump doesn't, and blah, blah. I mean, bunch of BS. Right?
Everything that's around it has been BS. And he knows governors actually have more power than the federal government when it comes to states.
Well, that's how it should be. That's why we're a unified states to make one country. Again, we're in a weird alternate world. Something happened. Hopefully 2022 puts us back on track, but I have this bad feeling that 2022 is going to even be more outrageous than 2021.
Well, I got some other good news for you.
Well, we need the good news because that's, like I said, New York City police arresting people for eating out. It's getting, and meanwhile, hate crimes and murders and guns and all this other stuff are prevalent, but we got to take care of them bad anti-vaxxers. We got to take care of them.
Yeah, that's the primary problem in the world. We don't even know what goes on in the other world. They've never showed us any world news about the status of COVID worldwide. Have you ever seen it?
Oh, they showed us. Yeah, they showed us. Like Japan right now is very low. Australia is spiking. Germany is spiking. I think Italy is spiking.
Well, they're only showing us the spiking one. What's going on in Vietnam?
Well, we don't care about Vietnam, Seriously.
No, but I mean, this is a world problem, but I guess Vietnam's got like very little. Very little. Now, here they live in all conditions way different than we do in America. And
they just showed a clip in South Africa where they just destroyed 1 million doses of the vaccine. Destroyed it. They said, in the Congo, we're not doing this.
All right. What about Indonesia?
Going back to the whole root of everything is the media manipulation. They show us what they want us to believe and hear, and that's it. Forget the truth. It's all hearsay. It's all opinion. Yep. They don't want us to know anything. And unfortunately, like I said, we've been sitting around long enough looking at all the stuff that's been going on, and people are making their own minds up. And it's really coming out that, seriously, you get that jab, you're hurting yourself more than what COVID will do.
Absolutely.
In the long run, it's not good.
It's meant to destroy your immune system, not enhance it.
And I'm sure some people had helped them out a little bit. But one of the things that, again, if you just look at what is the government doing to prevent?
It's not even a vaccine.
Well, the government, what they're doing to prevent COVID is that they're locking down, making mandates, making you wear masks, and telling you what you can and can't do. What happened in Florida when DeSantis says, hey, we have COVID, so we're going to have treatment centers. We have ivermectin. We have all this stuff. We have all these different treatments, and it's available to people. We don't have that nationally, and we don't have that worldwide. Everybody is doing their own thing. Kind of what Biden said, that he has no control over anything anymore.
There is no federal solution.
And it's up to the states now. Again, look at it. Look at Florida. Even now, they have very low rates.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's a bunch of states that have very low rates, and it's weird. It's the states that have the least amount of restrictions seem to be doing better. And the states that are like restricted up to the hilt, surges and hospitalizations and all this. And again, it's all hearsay. It's all a bunch of crap. The only thing I've seen is there are a bunch of people getting scared and they're getting tested. We got to get tested. We got to know if it's Omicron or what it is. Is it the flu or something? It's terrible.
This is flu season. How come nobody got the flu this year?
Because it's Omicron.
What happened to the seasonal flu shots?
Well, they're still there. They're still trying to do that. But unfortunately, the way our health system is that I trust nothing. They give you a shot regardless of what, you know.
Yeah, we don't even know what's in them. And did you see that woman that was in CVS and the pharmacist opened up the box to see what the ingredients were? And it was a blank sheet of paper that came with the vaccine.
Well, they can't let you know what's in there. And the biggest news was what? That New York Times editor got the he got the booster, and what happened the day later? Heart attack.
He died.
Yep. But it wasn't the vaccine. I guarantee that. No way. No way.
No. He just died.
Just like all these super sports players, soccer players all over the world, perfectly healthy, take the vaccine, and they have heart issues all of a sudden.
Yes.
You know, and that's, you can see that for yourself, but they won't push that narrative. They won't do anything like that. Again, you have to go to certain places like Russell Brand. He makes you think. He's opening up these ideas. He's exposing all this. It's amazing. And like I said, heavy duty country, he's letting you know what's going on.
Yep.
Tim Cast, he's all right, but, you know, he's a little wishy-washy. He likes to straddle that fence more.
Yeah, and I haven't listened to Tony. I have kind of tuned him off for a little bit.
And because the last thing he says, pull all your money out before January. Well, that's going to be kind of hard to do.
Get it out of the banks. Have you heard...
See, and that's 2022. There's already telling you, pull your money out of the bank. So 2022 is going to be a ride.
Oh, have you heard anything about the Starlink program going into effect tomorrow?
No, and I was going to say, I haven't even heard anything from James either. It's like all the aliens.
No, he did a good one on Christmas.
Oh, he did
a really good one, yeah. It was a good one. But I heard that the Starlink is actually going to be operational. They've been testing it, and it's going to be an incredible quantum system with the Starlink coming up.
Okay.
So that's supposedly going into effect on the 1st.
Now, see, I thought Starlink was developed to make sure that everybody all over the world would have internet.
It has so many uses. It is more or less eliminating private servers anywhere. Everything is going to go through Starlink. The other satellites that the bad guys and the bankers and the fraudsters want to communicate with their own servers, the elite have their own servers. And they have their own satellites. And if they want to, launder money or do anything illegal, how can you trace it or track it down? Because it's all on their own system you'll never have access to. So everything has to go through Starlink in the future here. They're going to zap down all the cabal satellites.
What was that?
CNN won't be able to communicate with each other without it going through someone else, and that they're not in charge of, so they're going to leave their tracks on every conversation.
That's crazy. What was that movie? Terminator? What was it?
Yeah, which Terminator?
All of them. What started it? What were we fighting?
I don't know.
What was the system that we were fighting that made all the robots and AI?
Oh, the AI.
No, but what was it called?
Ooh.
Skynet. Isn't it very similar? I mean, this thing is supposed to save and help us, and that's what Starlink or whatever the star.
It's like watching The Matrix now. You remember Matrix 1, the first one?
Yeah.
90% of the movie is real.
Well, they just came out with a new one coming out. Now, what's that going to do?
That one we got to go see, Rich. The Resurrection. Now, how crazy is that? Jesus Christ was resurrected from the dead. And this movie's called The Matrix Resurrection. In the title, I wonder, you want to go see number 4 here?
Number 4?
Yeah, this was the 4th Matrix.
I don't have my COVID passport. I have to wait till it comes out on VHS.
Let's do a streaming party and watch it. Yes, the bad guys know their days are numbered. They're running scared. And I got about 4 or 5 more minutes here, and I got to let those guys know. I got to call in at 10:40.
I'm just
we got to keep this up here because things are totally changing. I'm just.
A lot has been said for 2021, and here we are, 2022, and then hopefully things start getting better with the new midterm elections and moving forward to 2024.
Let's do a call tomorrow. With that being said, Rich, we can't have elections in 2022 if this doesn't get fixed. What happened in 2020?
Oh, that's what they're hoping.
I wanted to let you know when the dominoes fall. Do usually a lot of them fall? The old saying, it only takes one domino to get them going. Did you hear what just happened in Georgia?
What happened?
Oh my God! I think Georgia's the first domino to fall. They got so much evidence of fraud. They're throwing people in prison right now for it. The attorney general there is going crazy.
Well, I hope so, because
you got to check out Georgia. Arizona's going crazy. It's just going to go right to state to state. Well, this is coming to a head right now.
Awesome. Well,
yes, I just wanted to give you a little bit of good news. Let's see if we can talk tomorrow. If you want to dig into Georgia's 2020 scene right now, awesome. They have it all done in live time, captured.
Well, let's say goodbye to 2021. Let's welcome 2022, and let's really hope that things change and get back to normal, if there's ever such a thing. Unbelievable. The world is going crazy.
It is unbelievable.
Yep, I would have never believed it in a million years. So,
we could go right down the whole everything that's happened. We could never believe someone would have told us this 5 years ago.
I still don't believe it, and we just witnessed it. I'm just in awe. But with that,
oh, no one's going to come in and out of your country, out of America. They're going to block all travel. Oh yeah. What are you smoking?
Up, where Dr. Fauci is our
They're going to close all businesses. Shut up.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
You know, all the stuff that actually happened, we would never believed a few years ago. That it even could happen.
I still can't believe the things that went on. I can't believe the governors and the mayors and, you know, places like Chicago and Minneapolis and Seattle and Portland. I mean, unbelievable stuff. So anyway,
and the murder rate just keeps going up, and they're locking up, you know, people up, and the cities have autonomous zones and
yep,
and defund the police.
It really is.
It's a clown world.
Clown world, crazy world, unbelievable world.
Let's go down a rabbit hole tomorrow. Let's pick one and see what you want to do.
With that, my friend, I want to say thank you. It's been awesome. And like I said, we got to keep strong and we got to keep moving forward and be positive. That's the most important thing, because watching the news and listening to all these Karens and everything, it's making life difficult.
Well, we just don't know who or what to believe anymore.
Well, I know what to believe. It's amazing that they keep trying to pull this uncommon narrative that, I mean, obviously you see what they're trying to do now. And it's so one-sided.
Oh yeah, you got to be blind to not see. They put it right in front of your face.
Exactly. Well, my friend, enjoy, be safe, Happy New Year, happy holidays to everyone, and we will be talking to you real soon.
You stay positive, keep your energy high, and no fear.
Absolutely. Happy New Year, everyone. May peace be upon you and the world, and hopefully we'll get through this. Take care.
All right. Thanks,
my
Rich.
friend. We'll see you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.